Oh, we're live. It didn't do the countdown. I'm so upset. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Sorry. It usually does a countdown. Wait, hold on. I'm actually so mad. Everyone that's coming, I want the countdown. Here we go. Countdown. That's the way to do it. You have to countdown. Okay, this is really good. Here we are. We got 6 people viewing already. Hello, 6 people. Welcome. This is Halloweentown Post-Grad, a virtual comedy show hosted by me, Bianca.
And me, Evelyn. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Okay, you froze for a second.
Oh, no. Thank you for tuning in, all. We are collecting donations tonight for the Black LGBTQIA Migrant Project. You can send any donations to my Venmo, which we'll have scrolling below throughout the show. I'll be accepting donations throughout tomorrow. And then once I collect those donations, we'll make sure to post a receipt when they donated on my social medias. But yeah, we're excited to we have a really great lineup of hilarious comics. And we're so excited to share them with all of you.
Yeah, we're right. Evelyn, you're like freezing for me. It's okay. We're gonna push through. But yes, can you hear me, Evelyn?
Yes.
Oh gosh. Can you hear me, audience? Oh, audience, can you hear me? Okay, good. Because Evelyn keeps freezing for me, but it's okay. Yeah, please leave your comments throughout the show. If you keep commenting, your comment might show up on the screen tonight. Yes, we're collecting donations for the Black LGBTQIA+ Migrant Project. They do a lot of relief work, community building, education work, especially in terms of COVID-19 relief. So it's really, really important work to just send relief to these marginalized communities. So please, please, please donate to Evelyn Frick. We'll have the banner scrolling all through the night. We're here. It's Halloween. I'm not in college. Are you? Yeah.
It's pretty spooky.
Yeah, it's pretty spooky. So without further ado, I think it's time to start. I think, Evelyn, would you like to introduce the first comic?
Yes, the first comic that we have is a person we all know and love. Bianca loves black cats and candy. Very appropriate for this time of year. If there is one thing she loves more, however, it is Evelyn Frick. Bianca wrote this. Please welcome one of the many admirers of Evelyn Frick, Bianca Barrigan. Yay!
Hi, everyone. It's me. Hi. So my set tonight isn't, it's really hard to be funny right now. There's nothing is funny right now, I find. We're in some dark times, and I hope all are well. I hope all is good. Vote, donate, educate, hydrate with beer and water and tequila.
Sparkling blood orange sunrise margarita.
Thank you. Hydrate with all of these things. Yes, I did not, as you see, I did the doing of the drinks of beer, water, tequila. Now, as you know, that's not good. I only touched my lips to the beer because, as you know, beer before liquor, you're fucked, but liquor before beer, you're fucked up. So that's and now here I am, and I won't be fucked, but I'll be fucked up. I Wikipedia'd the page for loneliness the other day, which is an unpleasant emotional response to perceived isolation. My isolation is real. It's not perceived. I feel it, you know? So I don't really get that. Then I looked up the Wikipedia page for solitude, which is a lack of contact with people. I got that going, you know, so that's good. I got some solitude. And then I also looked up the Wikipedia page for creamed corn. And it's also sometimes referred to as cream. My computer is being all wonky. I don't know what's going on. So yes, if you can hear me, please comment. I was thinking recently that someone should create marriage Poppins instead of Mary Poppins, you know, like someone that comes to like help people's marriages instead of helping the children. Like, you know, just a spoonful of communication helps the marriage work. Oh yes, the marriage work, the marriage work. Or, of course, you know, the classic, stop feeding your egos, stop feeding them now. It's not helping you work this out. And, of course, it's a jolly holiday in couples therapy. Couples therapy makes the world shine bright. And supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, which is a word that you know, they say in the movie that it'll change your life. So maybe if I said that word more often, that my parents would still be together. But I don't know. I was thinking maybe that we could have a super villain that has the ability to make people poop. I feel like that would be a good supervillain. I've been watching a lot of Hell's Kitchen recently. This is what I'll end on, and then we'll go on to the other people who are here because yes. So I've been watching a lot of Hell's Kitchen. Gordon Ramsay. And the majority of the show, he's just like zinging these liners to people. And one of the chefs was like really into his food, like calling it sexy and stuff. And he was just like, oh yeah, look at you, you naughty little scallop. And yes, you sexy risotto. And he messed up cooking one of the things. And he was like, it's okay, I'll make another one. It's coming right up to you, baby. And Chef Ramsay was like, it's coming, baby. You cook like a fucking baby. Oh gosh. That's it. That's all I have to say. Not really anything important, but you know, stuff. Thank you all. Okay, cool. Well, great. Our next performer is someone who I met long ago. This ex-comedian survived COVID-19 to be here tonight, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Here is Jackson Copeland. Oh gosh. Where did Jackson Copeland go? Oh, this is not going very well. Oh no. Jackson, are you here? You good?
There we go. Finally, yes. Awesome.
Cool. Here we go.
All right.
Take it away, Jackson, while I sip my tequila.
Do it. Do it. I just recently recovered from COVID-19. Thank you. I had 2 full, uninterrupted weeks to work on nothing but writing jokes, and I wrote exactly 1. This is it. In America, I am disappointed. I am disappointed that in America today, Alabama is the first state alphabetically. I don't think that we're leading with our best. Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, we're looking real bad here. I appreciate you guys having me here. I think it's an important cause to support the LGBTQIA migrant project. I don't have LGBTQ plus because I can't afford the extra $4.99 a month, but I do watch the ads. Right. I think love is important. Getting laid is important. Look at the incels on the internet. Incels, they're a group of they're a group on the internet that hates women, and they commit mass shootings. They're sort of like a nerdy ISIS. I mean, if you think about it, they're a group of suicidal guys that hate women but love neckbeards. And they are very well appreciated by the people that make Call of Duty. But these incels, they're really interesting to me personally because I struggled with getting laid for a long time, if you can believe it. I was a virgin until I was 28. You know, I'm 29, right? Back when I was a virgin, I was a totally different person. You know, like I used to do jokes like this, like imagine I'm a virgin. I'm a virgin. My family is getting a little worried about me. The other day, my brother sat me down and he said, Jackson, when I lost my virginity, nothing really changed. And I was like, cool. And then I dropped him off for school. That's pretty good. I was like pulling that one back out. But he was wrong. When I did lose my virginity, it was a big deal. It changed my whole identity. I went from like this really like sweet Christian virgin boy to a very cool guy, clearly. But I couldn't enjoy my new bad boy status for very long because I actually found out that the woman that I lost my virginity to, this really like special moment for me, I found out that she lied, that she was actually married to a military man. You know, so talk about disrespecting the troops. Am I right? Huh? I'm no better than Colin Kaepernick. Where's my Nike sponsorship, huh? He's just kneeling. I'm out here ruining marriages. The other day at work, this guy came up to me. I helped him fix his wife's email, and he was like, thanks, man. You saved a marriage. And I was like, great. Net 0 marriages. I told my mom that I had sex with somebody's wife, which you should never do. And her first thing was, she was like, you should get yourself tested because you might have AIDS. And I was like, that would be hilarious. If I waited till I was 28 to have sex, I accidentally had sex with somebody's wife, and then I got AIDS. That would have been comedy rule of 3, people. That would have been my life. But no, yeah, I've been dating a lot. Out here. I went on a date with a really religious girl, really Christian girl, and I asked her like, okay, well, like, what are your thoughts on God? And she was like, first off, I think Jesus is God. And I was like, that's just the whole thing. Like, that'd be like if you said you liked Batman, and I was like, oh man, tell me about Batman. You were like, first off, I think Bruce Wayne is Batman. They have the same butler. That's the clue. Uh, but yeah, my dating pool is getting a lot older now. Now that I'm getting older, I'm getting so old that when a girl doesn't text me back, there's a real chance she actually might be dead. My dating pool is getting really professional too. Just very like I've gone out with a lot of lawyers, emergency room doctors. Last year, I went out with a woman who was the head of international safety standards at the CDC, which in hindsight is a very important job. I was out with this woman, and I asked her, like, what's it like to work at the CDC? And she looked at me and she said, I have no idea what I'm doing. I am so terribly underqualified for this job. I don't know why they put me in charge of this. Hold everything you have now, dear, because there's a reckoning coming and I am powerless to stop it. And I was like, oh, word? What kind of music do you like? I later in this same date asked her what her favorite drug was, because that is a go-to date question. And she said heroin. And then she told me a very graphic story about how her sister ran over someone with a boat. And I was like, check, please. We need to get out of here because I found the love of my life. I like helping broken and sad people. What can I say? I think I would have enjoyed worshiping God more if they told me that he felt bad about himself. I got dumped by this Jewish girl right before the pandemic. It really hurt to be passed over like that. Okay, all right, there we go. Yeah, back on it. She had emotional issues though. Like we went out for drinks this one time and she started crying because I didn't remember her favorite drink. But I have a really good reason though. I have a really good reason. We just met. I'm checking my time if I got the light or not. Cool. Anybody like cats? You like cats? What's up? Oh yeah? Awesome. I'm lonely too. Oh yeah. Got him. That's the conclusion of the set. I'm a very bad guy who tricks people.
Oh, I love that. Cats. Oh, I love cats. Oh, well, that was so excellent. Let's see what kinds you got. Yeah, I'm so sorry also for these technical issues, but it was really excellent. I heard the end of it, and you're very funny, and I love cats, and you love cats. So let's get married. Let's do it.
I do.
Oh, yes, thank you. Jackson Copeland, everyone. Excellent job. Okay, cool. Let me just get our next. Introducing our next.
Hello.
Is.
Hello. Welcome back, friends, to my screen. Keep the donations coming in. Thanks so much to Cato Prado for donating thus far. We'd love to see more donations. Please send to my Venmo. Next up, we have another hilarious comedian. By day, Kayla works in publishing, but by night, she stresses about her student loan debt and occasionally tries to convince strangers that she's funny. I can confirm that Kayla is funny. Please welcome Kayla Lightner.
Hi guys, thank you, Evelyn. Glad I can at least convince people I'm funny because the student loan debt is still there. That also reminds me, I always like to start off my sets by just letting everybody know that I am taking applications for a sugar daddy. I got these loans to pay off. Especially with COVID, it looks like it would have to be a remote position. Which is fine. You know, I think my boyfriend would also prefer that. So feel free to shoot me an email. But yeah, so I hope everybody's staying safe. during the pandemic. And Bianca and Evelyn, thank you for putting this together. It's so cool to see how people are finding ways to kind of facilitate human interaction on Zoom or on virtual spaces. And while I understand that like virtual communication, specifically Zoom, is necessary, I fucking hate it. Mainly because people act a fool on Zoom. Like, people think they can just talk to you any type of way because it's not in person. And when I say people, I specifically mean my grandfather. So I like call my mom and my grandfather every weekend just to check in on how they're doing. And like everybody else in the pandemic, I've been nesting. I've been, like painting my living room, like getting plants, like trying to make my space as homey and comfortable as possible. And so I was showing my grandfather on Zoom what my apartment looks like. I was like, oh yeah, check out this new bookshelf that I got. And he's like, oh yeah, I didn't really see that. Those jowls look a little new too. And I was like, jowls? Really? And so the pandemic has made me realize that I don't procrastinate talking with my family because I'm a horrible person. I procrastinate talking to my family because they're hella rude. Like, they have no time for hurt feelings. A couple of months ago, when we were in the throes of it, is Armageddon happening right now? Throws in it. I was considering shaving my head because why not? I mean, if like the rapture is gonna come, might as well try and pull off the Amber Rose look. And I told my mom, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking of shaving my head. Like, why not go for it? And she looked at me, she was like, I don't know. You kind of got a big head. I was like, okay, so again, why I put off talking to you guys? Because you're hella rude. And speaking of bonding with families, I've also been talking with my boyfriend's family on Zoom too. So we FaceTime them pretty often. And I've noticed that, and I don't know if anybody else, goes through this similarly with their partners, but I've noticed that your partner's family tries to bond with you by talking shit about other members in their family. And so I remember I was talking to his grandmother, and she's like, and I'm like, sorry, that's like my old white lady voice. That's the best I can do. But she's like, I'm so glad that you and Austin are together. You're so good for him. Not like Janice's husband. He had a meth addiction, and now he works at Little Caesars. And I'm like, what? What do I say to that? Like, what? All I can say is, I like Little Caesars. Really good deal. Like, how do you even respond to that? And so ultimately, like I said, people are just being reckless out here on Zoom. It is wild. I am really lucky, however, that like Evelyn mentioned at the top of my set, I work in publishing, and I'm actually really lucky that my job can be done pretty remotely. I just send emails all day. But working remotely has made me realize how much time I spent in the office actively trying not to do my job. And so, like, because when you come into work, you don't work for like the first hour. You get like situated. You're like, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go take the toner out of the printer. I'm going to go put the toner back in the printer. I'm going to go bother my coworker. My building had an elevator. Sometimes I would just ride the elevator, and then I would finally go do work. But here, it's like I just have to get out of bed and sit on my couch and open my laptop, and I'm there. So it's like, okay, I guess I'll do the job that you guys paid me to do, and nothing else. And so that has been, if anything, I'm more productive. You can't even really be late when you work remotely. Like, what can I say? Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I got held up in my bathroom. Like, how do you even, you can't even like come up with a reasonable excuse for that. I will say, in working remotely, it's been nice because like I don't have to wear a bra. I just like I can get out of bed, 5 minutes before work, get some coffee, and start chugging away. It actually really reminds me of being in college, which is not good because I have done a very good job of becoming a responsible and fully actualized adult, and I'm seeing grown ass Kayla revert to college Kayla behavior, and that's not good. And so a couple of weeks ago, I took an edible on a weeknight. Why did I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I don't have to commute. It's okay. And then the next day, I was so out of it that in the middle of a work call with my boss, a Zoom call with my boss, I didn't realize that you could see my vibrator charging in its little stand directly behind me. So, yeah, we gotta rope it back in. We're getting too reckless out here on Zoom. So I'll leave my set with this. I always like to close out my set by saying, never trust a comedian who does not laugh at their own jokes. That is like trusting someone who does not eat their own food. So if you are ever with someone and they like give you a plate of food and you're like, oh, you're not gonna eat any, and they're like, no, that person is trying to kill you. Just so you know. But yeah, that's my set. Thanks Evelyn and Bianca for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kayla. It's a fantastic set. We also have Kayla's Venmo listed on there if you want to tip. If any of our performers have made you laugh, please do tip. And if you think they haven't made you laugh, you're a liar and a scoundrel.
No.
Cool. So now we're gonna have. Thank you again, Kayla. We're gonna have Bianca come back out here to introduce our next comic. At any moment. Hello.
Here I am.
Yes.
I just want to apologize for the internet. It's not my fucking fault. It's the internet's fault. Damn.
You're here now, though.
I'm here now. I can't. Also, Kayla, everything you said, I relate to. Everything. So here we go. Introducing the next comic, everyone. Keeping the ball rolling. Donate, donate, donate. The donation banner is down there. Please donate. It's very important. And as you're donating, I'll introduce the next comic. The next comment. The next comic, described as very much online. You've seen them all around the internet. Jade, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. McDonough. Here I go. No. Hi, Jade.
Hello.
Oh, good. Yes, we have a vibrator. Excellent.
Excuse me, this is my karaoke microphone. Thank you very much.
They double sometimes. Some people have vibrators, others have karaoke microphones.
Listen, if it makes you sing, it makes you sing. The quacks.
Yeah, it makes you sing. It makes you sing. So take it away, Jade. I'm very excited to hear your funny words.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jade McDonough, and I understand that this is really not the face that you would expect when I say that. My favorite is meeting white people for the first time when they've only ever heard me on the phone and have no idea what I look like. And they're like, sometimes they get really, really confident, and they're like, what happened to you? And mostly the only thing I can say is like, I don't know what to tell you, Susan. Slavery, I don't know. My family's Jamaican, and apparently the Irish were down there, but I don't know the full story. Honestly, I'm just very confused. I am categorically unlucky in love, and I like to say, I've recently gone through a breakup with my sanity, and I haven't seen her in such a long time. 2020 has been a really interesting year for me. I was engaged, and now I'm not, and that was a fucking nightmare. And yeah, nightmare. It was just a nightmare. It was like, oh no, like maybe it's like fine, maybe we can be friends. And now I'm like thinking about getting a restraining order. Like it got to the point where I called up my gun friend, and I think everyone should have a gun friend who politically aligns with them. Like he's a white guy who thinks Black people are people. This is important. And I was like, hey, you were telling me about tasers and stun guns. Can you send me that link again? And he sent me a link for like the best taser there is. And he was like, you could get this, or you could get a crossbow. And I was like, what? Like, why would I do that? And crossbows, just in case you have, a bear problem, an ex-fiance problem. They're less regulated than guns. They're less regulated than stun guns. And something I found out, you could buy 4 crossbows for the price of 1 decent stun gun. So use that, take that information and do with it what you will. And I'm not responsible for anything that happens. Even though I'm really unlucky in love, my favorite bit of relationship advice that I like to give to people is, you know, I understand that we're in quarantine, you're bored. You might have paid for Tinder Gold. Don't, but like do. You might have paid for Tinder Gold. You might have been swiping around the country, around the world. You might have extended your age range because you thought, oh, you know, I am 20 to 25. I could go for someone like 30, 35, 40. Let me tell you, 30-year-olds are just 20 with money. And most of the time they don't even have the fucking money, so don't bother. Don't bother. They have the same general disposition of like untrained dogs. So just stop dating men 2020 is what I have to say about that. But another thing, you know, like a virtual show is so loose for me. 1, I didn't memorize any of this shit. And 2, like, it's just mostly stories. This is mostly stories. And I want to tell you guys the story of how I R. Kelly'd myself. And like, I'm dumb. I've been the other woman twice. And thrice? Twice. I've been the other woman twice. And someone once asked me, like, why do you keep going back? And the answer is dick. I'm addicted to dick. And I'm stupid. All I do is drink dumb bitch juice and coffee at 7:33 p.m. I don't like to sleep. But there was this guy, and I've just like kind of ended that thing. It was for about 2 years. His fiance never found out about me. I think she's dumb. But she was out of town, and I was like, when is she coming back? And he said, oh, today at like noon. And in my mind, I was like, there's really nothing stopping this woman from coming back to her own home whenever the fuck she wants. But we woke up early. I went in for the double tap. And if you don't know, the double tap is when you fuck in the morning again. Highly recommend. And we go in the shower. We get out of the shower. We're shooting the shit. We have like an hour before she's supposed to come back. And lo and behold, all we hear is a knock at the door. Hey, honey, I'm home. Baby, I've missed you. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see you. Now, this was last Halloween, and my costume, my wig, my makeup was strewn all about their apartment. And on this man's face, I just saw, have you seen like a man just lose everything in an instant? And he was like, what do we do? And I was like, bitch, I don't fucking know. And it turns out that behind that door was not just her. It was her and her mom and her aunt and her best friend. And I was like, you know what? I'm not really emotionally prepared to fight 4 women today. And so he was like, well, and he pointed to the closet. And I put my tiny little ass in that fucking closet for love. And I was trapped in the closet. And luckily, they had like left the door. They gave up on trying to get in, and they had just gone downstairs, which was great for me because, again, I did not want to fight 4 women on this day. But I learned that I'll do anything for decent dick, and that closets actually, it's, you know, I've been out since I was 15, but it's kind of nice to go back. It's homey, cozy. And so I leave you guys with this. I am single and motherfucking ready to mingle. If you want, you could follow me on Instagram at McSpaceburger, which is the same as my Venmo handle. And I actually have a lovely Google form for y'all to fill out if you want to win a date with me. Please be over the age of 18. It could be virtual. You can be anywhere. I'll also drop it in the chat. So if you thought I was hot and or funny, fill it out.
I mean, I might go fill that out, you know? Why not?
Please
Why not? You know? I would fill it out. I'll fill it out right now. Thank you, Jade. Thank you. Excellent work. Super funny. Love it. Brilliant. Donate. And if you thought Jade was funny, and if you didn't, you're a potato. Tip Jade. You must tip Jade. Brilliant. Okay. Introducing our next comic is my dearest Evelyn Frick.
Hello. I'm back. Cool. Thank you all for your continued donations. Please keep hitting up my Venmo to send donations to the Black LGBTQIA+ Migrant Project. Next up, we have another very hilarious comedian. Imani is a Brooklyn-based actor, writer, and recently discovered he who has been rejected by every single Earth sign. Which element of the zodiac will be next? They predict air. Please give it up for Imani Russell. Oh.
I was on mute. Hello. I am not good with computers. It's okay. Hello. Thanks for being here, everyone. Still talking about zodiac. I'm a Scorpio sun, a Virgo moon, and a Gemini rising, right? And I'm also gay, but I'm not gay enough to know what like all of the astrology means. So if I had to give my own interpretation, I would say that it means this is going to be a little difficult for me because I love in-person attention and I can see and hear none of you. So if anyone wants to DM me after, sing my praises, I will accept that. I will also accept any Geminis asking for my number because they're the last air sign I need to reject me. So I looked up who invented bootcut jeans the other day. And it turns out that they're dead, which saves me a lot of trouble. Speaking of bootcut jeans, I'm talking about my mom. Because some of us are different and we have mommy issues. And I know you're thinking, Imani, didn't you just say you're gay? Doesn't that mean you have daddy issues? Yeah. Well, some of us are different. We have both, okay? I'm a Gemini and a bisexual. Back to my mom. So I've been fortunate enough to have a mom who is pretty good about the whole gay thing. She wishes me a happy Pride every June. She sends me links to the ugliest rainbow clothing you can imagine. And every so often she shows interest in my personal life, which I think is really sweet, a step up. Specifically, if I've been on giving or receiving end of a strap-on. She really wants to know that. I don't know why. But I feel like she still thinks that she has to tiptoe around actually talking about sexuality, and it could be the remnants of her Catholic upbringing. Like when she was growing up, you couldn't even like whisper the word lesbian without the congregation being like, Satan's bride emerges. So a few years ago, I was giving her an update on my friends, and I was talking about how I had gone on a hike with my friends Lily and Maeve, who are in a beautiful, loving queer relationship. And I guess I had never mentioned Maeve before because my mom immediately interrupts me and goes, oh, I didn't know Lily was. And I just looked at her and I was like, you didn't know Lily was what, Ma? She says, that Lily is. And at this point, I'm just staring her down because she's like one limp wrist away from saying what she means. And then she finally cracks. And she says, I just didn't know that Lily was. And she takes a dramatic pause that only a mother could muster. And she whispers, gay. And then the floor cracks open and she was dragged to hell. I miss her every day. She didn't deserve that. Okay. Now, I'm not out her about being trans, non-binary, although I'm like pretty sure she knows. And if she doesn't and she's watching this, surprise, Miss Girl, I'm a they, them. But a few weeks back, she was braiding my hair and out of the blue, she says, you're not going to come home and tell me your name is Tyler, are you? And I was so insulted, and it has nothing to do with like the hints of transphobia. I was just insulted that she thought if I was going to choose a name, it would be Tyler. Like, Tyler? I guess I can only blame myself. Like, I spent years bringing home white boys, and then my mom, I guess, thinks that I want to become one now. I don't. I'm very comfortable as a they, he. No white boys here, please. Not anymore. I also think she knows because she's very like into gendering me now. Like before, it used to be, my daughter's so beautiful, sweet, right? But now it's my female daughter with her womanly vagina and big bouncing breasts is so incredibly beautiful, and all of her female vagina having womanhood. And I'm just like, Mom, I'm pretty sure I'm trans because of you, because you're this way. Plus, like, why is she so obsessed with my boobs? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a little suspicious. I will say she is an Aquarius sun. Okay, I still don't really know what that means. I don't think I ever will. The bisexuality, it's a. But if I had to guess, if I had to give my own little interpretation, I would say that it means that she's maybe. Exceptionally cisgender. Oh, thank you. That's my set, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was
Coming out.
fantastic. Comments. Cool. Yeah, please send Imani tips, please.
Yeah, my Venmo. That's my Venmo. My last name, my first name backwards. Cool. Thanks.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's clever. Cool. So now we'll bring out my lovely friend Bianca to introduce our next comic.
I will say that I am an Aquarius sun, and I am, just a whole lot of love it, queerness for life. Our next comic, everyone, Jen Reno is a transgender storyteller who got her accidental start in comedy at the recently closed due to COVID IO Theater in Chicago. She's joining us from week number 3 of a mandatory 10-week post-surgery bed rest. And we're so grateful she's here because of it. But once she's allowed back up, you can hear her at mics or Zooms all around town. And occasionally, you might even find her flogging strangers on the streets of New York in exchange for morning mimosas or evening whiskey diets. Please welcome Jen Reno.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. This has been great all the way through. But since this is a Halloween show, but not really Halloween, can we just pour one out for Halloween 2020 since it's not going to happen?
Literally, I'm teaching children now, and I'm like, what are you doing for Halloween? And they're like, nothing. And they're so upset about it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, children.
Well, it's so sad because as a trans individual, putting on a costume was always so important to me growing up. And when I was younger, I used to put on these costumes all the time at Halloween so I could be a race car driver. And I didn't realize until I got older that I couldn't be a race car driver because I couldn't drive a stick shift. But then as I transitioned, I realized I didn't really want to be a race car driver. I just wanted people to believe that I wasn't trans, right? But I've learned other things since transitioning as well, other than me not being a race car driver. And the first thing I want to talk about that I learned was that I'm hella kinky. Now, when I say I'm kinky, I don't mean that I'm a professional dominatrix, though I am currently booking appointments for as soon as COVID is over. And I also don't necessarily mean that I like to tie people down, but I also really appreciate it when some send me toys at the end of our sessions. What I actually mean is that I am hella masochistic. Now, when I talk about my personal masochism, that doesn't mean that I like it when people hit me. No, those bruises heal way too quickly, right? I'm looking for that super deep emotional turmoil that lasts a lifetime. And I think the reason for that is growing up trans in a household of trans folks. And now that I don't talk to my family anymore, I have to find a substitute for that like hurt and pain. And I have found that for my money, there is no better place in the world for harm than the 24/7 smorgasbord of stupidity that we know and love as Twitter. Now, if you're not familiar with sort of the self-harm that happens on Twitter, specifically for the transgender community, let me sort of set the stage for you. There's this very famous writer. She may live across on the other side of the pond. We will call her She Who Shall Not Be Named. And the reason we're going to use that is because, like her Death Eaters in the story, known as gender crits in the real world, if you say her name out loud, they come screaming to attack you. And it's not very fair because at least in the books, like the people being attacked had a chance to fight back. But like when I try to fight back, it doesn't really work. It's like playing a game of whack-a-mole. They come at me and they're like, "You're really a dude." And I'm like, "Bitch, no, I'm not. Account deleted." Well, shit. You know, you have a penis. Huh? That's what you think. You've been blocked. What the fuck? This isn't working. This isn't fun. Why won't this person bring me my food? Karen, I don't think this is the right thread for you. You need to find another. Please get the fuck out. So, I mean, that explains the Death Eaters, but it doesn't explain J.K. Rowling very well. We're going to call her J.K. from now on because she has a long history specifically of like liking and retweeting things on Twitter that are hella transphobic and then just shouting, "Hey, JK, didn't really happen." We know now that it really did, but since the shoe fits, it works. But she recently penned a long sort of editorial where she talked about how she doesn't hate trans people. She just thinks that trans women sort of negate the lived experience of cis women. And as someone who has been like groped and solicited for sex and mansplained to on a regular basis and like had my life threatened by a bunch of men because I wouldn't have sex with them, like I can only think that, you know, making women's lived experiences lessened means like when the girl I'm sitting next to at the bar tries to have a conversation with me about, you know, the sleepovers she used to have in her adolescence, and I can't join in with that, I have just made her life a little bit less than it was. When the one sitting to my left wants to talk to me about the time she took the varsity football player to prom as a freshman and the whole school turned against her, well, I just can't add to that conversation. And when the woman behind me cuts through and tries to scream at the bartender for not getting her drink fast enough, God damn it, Karen, this is not for you! Get out! Seriously, though, I could totally imagine those conversations being thing Karen talks about at the bar while she's sipping appletini, trying to hit on the bartender behind her husband's back. But that's a whole other story. You know, my favorite conversation I've ever actually had with a TERF on Twitter started like this. She said, "If you ever get the surgery, all you're ever going to have is a crushed up hot dog, whereas I'm going to have the vagina that's supple and delicious forever." Chef's kiss. And the reason I give the chef's kiss is because she actually like added that gift to her tweet like it was adding something. And like, first of all, like I'm gay as fuck and like I've gone down on plenty of women and like there's some good pussy, but like I also recognize that if Karen went down on some bad pussy smelling like fish, she was sending that shit back, right? And I have to assume the person who attacked me was probably that person. But like, as usual, I come after her with like another line. And I'm like, bitch, I'm going to have the Ferrari of vaginas. Everybody's going to want to take it for a test drive. Right. And I was really hurt because she didn't come back at me again. And like, how am I getting my self-harm taken care of if like I'm not getting those deep emotional scars? And the conclusion I came to eventually was that the line was so good, she was so intrigued by my Ferrari of vaginas that she got to the back of the line. I just hope that, unlike me as a young child, she knows how to drive a stick. The absolute worst thing that I've ever been told on Twitter, and I say worst because it was the dumbest. I shared a photo of myself and my partner, and a TERF came at me and were like, "You look like her mom." And I was like, "Bitch, I already won. You called me a woman. Back the fuck off." Right? But it really made me think for a second, like, oh my God, am I really that old? Like, we just had a comedian on talking about how 30-year-olds were only good for their money. And I'm like, oh my God, is that all I'm here for? I may also be filling out your dating profile later, so keep an eye if you're interested and if you find me funny. Anyway, yeah. So I started looking back over time at our relationship, and I started thinking about maybe how I would know she was too young for me. Like, one of them was I had to teach her how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. Maybe that's bad. The second thing, like, there's a joke that I tell a lot where I say being trans is a lot like being Alex Trebek. You're always giving people answers before they can ask you their questions. And like, I gave that joke the first time she saw me do comedy, and a while later when we were alone, she leaned over and she's like, who's Alex Trebek? Like, that's kind of problematic. Like, that made me feel really old. One that's kind of recent, she couldn't find a stamp during COVID, so she asked me if I thought that if she put a letter in the mailbox without a stamp, if the postman would like stamp it for her. And I have come to the conclusion at this point that Gen Z is officially killing the USPS. It's nobody else. But like, she's beautiful. So how do I say no to that? You know? And then there was one time though, she actually accidentally messaged her mom for permission to bring me home with her. Like, that was pretty bad. And then there was the time that she actually did call my mom. That was really problematic. But I will say that she is at times calling me mommy. She does like to be tied down. And let me tell you right now, that woman has known how to drive a stick for quite a while. Thank you all. You all are great. I appreciate it. I hope that was okay.
Really, that was more than okay. That was something else. That I feel transcended to another comedic plane. That's what that was. Jen Reno, everyone, truly so hilarious. If you thought she was funny, oh God, please give her a tip. If you didn't think she was funny, then we're not friends anymore. And you want to be my friend. So thank you, Jen. Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Okay. We're wrapping up. We got one more comedic person tonight, everyone. Thank you all for sticking around for this long. If you haven't donated yet, you best donate. Because if you don't, I will throw a fit. Last and final comic, people. Donate before it's too late. Evelyn Frick is God damn it. Evelyn Frick is a comic writer and electric toothbrush owner from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Currently based in Brooklyn, Evelyn works for the comedy podcast Friends Like Us and comedian Marina Franklin. Please welcome the light of my life, my co-host, my something. She's something, all right. Evelyn Frick.
I'm so honored to be your son.
I'm Lucy. I wanted to be like my housemate from senior year of college. I miss you, Evelyn, so much. I miss how old housemates are there. Leave a comment. I miss college. The real world is stupid. Anyway, take it away, Evelyn.
Well, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in and for donating. Please keep donating. Before I start my set, I just wanted to say I've been watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel a lot recently, and for those who don't know, it's basically a show about a female comedian, and before she goes on stage, she and her manager will look at each other and say, "Tits up." And I'm thinking about it, and as a comedian myself, I could never say "tits up" because my boobs are just not that perky. I think to start out a set, I think the most accurate preposition I could use to describe my boobs is around. So if I were Mrs. Maisel, I would say tits around. And I just wanted to say happy birthday to my mom.
Woo!
As my birthday present to you, Mom, I promise that I won't make any jokes about the fact that you're from Indiana, because that is its own cross to bear. But yeah, so my set is kind of about, I haven't done stand up in a while because of COVID, and I had a lot of trouble writing this particular set because over the last 6 months, I've just kind of been all over the place, like mentally and physically. And so instead of just like writing about one topic, I just kind of wanted to give you a general sense of what's been going on in my brain throughout quarantine. So early on, I was fortunate enough to shelter in place with my family for the more stringent parts of quarantine. And essentially, we're just kind of spending time together with my parents and my sister, watching a lot of TV and movies. For example, we watched A Portrait of a Lady on Fire together, and my mom loved it. She loved it so much, in fact, that she started pointedly telling me so. Like, I would be working, and she'd just come up to me and say, Evelyn, I just want you to know how much I enjoyed watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I feel so grateful that you would trust me enough to recommend that I watch Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Portrait of a Lady on Fire didn't choose to be gay. Portrait of a Lady on Fire was just made that way. And even if your grandparents wouldn't understand Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I love it unconditionally. I'm proud of A Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's such a brave movie. In spite of the teasing, I do love my mom very much, and I appreciate her support in being gay and queer. Besides, it has inspired me to start signaling my allyship to straight people by saying that I liked the movie Dear John. Being in my parents' home has also given me the opportunity to relive a lot of my childhood. Like when I was home, I went through some of my old toys and I found some Polly Pocket dolls. Remember Polly Pocket? She was a tiny doll popular in the early to mid 2000s. And the fun thing about her was that she had a significantly better quality of life than you. I'm not here to talk about Polly's chewable choking hazard fashion or whether or not her family owning multiple pieces of pocket-fill property is guillotine worthy. I'm here to talk about the intrigue and the drama. First of all, Polly's parents are named John Pocket and Mom Pocket, which is so funny because I had no idea that Mike Pence was in charge of naming Polly Pocket dolls. Polly also has 2 brothers, but I think it's absolutely bananas that none of them are named Paul Pocket. Maybe this is just the quarantine talking, but I think there could be a really interesting narrative where Paul is Polly's estranged twin. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only creative in Brooklyn who's not working on a spec script, but maybe Return of the Prodigal Pocket is my chance. Okay, back to Polly World though. Then Polly has her boy toys. First there's Rick. Rick is cool. Rick is a bad boy. Rick is a doctor and a DJ. He's somehow the most essential and least essential worker. But for me, the real unsung hero of the Polly Pocket franchise is Rick's best friend, who's canonically named Todd, parentheses, originally called Steven. I know he sounds like the artist formerly known as Prince of Polly Pocket World, but that's in name only. Where Rick is the cool boy, Todd, originally called Steven, is just a loyal lackey. But I think the reason why I love this character so much is because every friend group has a Todd. Every friend group has that one person who's always around, and no matter how many times they try to rebrand themselves, no one really wants to spend any time with them. Like, sorry, but no one wants to ride in your picnic playset dune buggy, Todd. Where Mattel kind of made him this background character, if I were in charge, I could have really made Todd, originally called Steven, shine. Because Todd can so clearly be read as queer. I don't mean to stereotype, but for the movie date set with Todd and Kirsty, one of Todd's outfit options is a blue ombre jumpsuit. Also, remember when I mentioned Todd's dune buggy? That bitch is teal. No straight man owns anything teal. So I think if Mattel is really smart, they'll get in on the marketization of pride with some gay boy Todd playsets. And here's some free ideas I have for them. And by the way, these playsets are not suitable for all ages. First, we have Polly Pocket Todd Comes Out playset. Then, Polly Pocket Todd Reckons with Internalized Homophobia playset. Third, Polly Pocket Todd's First Grinder Date playset, complete with a tiny douche. And finally, Polly Pocket tries drag playset, and the follow-up, Polly Pocket Todd the Tuck playset. Okay, so that was my brain the first part of quarantine. Then when I returned to Brooklyn, I picked up on one of my old hobbies, sexting, and so I'd like to fill you in on those escapades. Recently, I received the second most unappealing sext I've ever received in my life. The first most unappealing sext being, of course, an unsolicited dick pic, and the third being a solicited dick pic. So I was texting with this guy, no pictures, just words. I am a storyteller after all. And after some brief foreplay, he texts, "I want to rub your clot." Now, clearly that was an autocorrect mistake because you have to have a medical license to rub my clot. But as you can imagine, it was a huge turnoff. Before the clot, my vagina was like a Georgia O'Keeffe flower. But post-clot, my labia snapped closed like a Venus flytrap. I think the worst part was that he just kept going, as if he hadn't just accidentally implied that I have a bloody vagina, which, you know, I do have a bloody vagina every 3 to 4 weeks in America and every day in Great Britain. But that's none of his ruddy business, isn't it? I guess my main question was, how am I supposed to respond to "I want to rub your clot"? Am I supposed to play along? Am I supposed to say, "Yes, fonger me, fonger my vagina, daddy"? How did I actually respond? Well, I think I'm going to leave this story unfinished, much like I was that evening. When I'm not sexting, though, I have been spending my time creating plans to hook up with people when it's safe to do so. I plan to hook up separately with 3 different dudes, and I'm just now realizing that if I'm not careful, in 20 years, I could have a Mamma Mia situation on my hands. But instead of Sam, Bill, and Harry, it's Nick, Max, and Jacob, and none of them would treat me as tenderly as Colin Firth would. I'm also planning to hook up with my girlfriend when she visits New York City next. Until these last few months, I didn't realize that long distance could be any harder, but man, I really miss my girlfriend's hot body. And also, the lady inside. That's my set. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. Please continue donating. Oh, thank you, Logan. Please continue donating. I'll be accepting donations until tomorrow at some point. Thank you so much to our wonderful comedians who we'll bring out now for one final goodbye and a celebration of how wonderful they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, please keep donating. Please keep tipping them. Yeah.
Well, that was a round of applause for Evelyn. That was fonger. To use the word fonger in a sentence. So yeah, that's our show, guys. Thank you. We're just gonna bring out every comedian out again so you can show them your love and remember them. So there was me, not important, and we have Jackson Copeland. The incredible Jackson Copeland. Thank you, Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Having COVID and being here. Wonderful, wonderful. Then we had the wonderfully brilliant Kayla Lightner, just so special and wonderful. Thank you, Kayla. Tip her heavily. If you don't, oh. Next, we had the wonderfully hysterical Jade McDonough. Where is Jade?
Oh.
Jade is a circle. Oh.
But we still love Jade, and they are perfect.
Jade. And tip Jade, even in circle form. Tip Jade in circle form. Do it. And we had the oh dear, I've messed up. Then we had the lovely Imani Russell. Tip Imani.
I almost put my middle finger up, but I don't know why.
Why not, Imani?
We don't need an audience.
Yes, brilliant, Imani Russell. Tip them heavily.
Thanks.
Brilliant, brilliant. Then we had the lovely Jen Reno, who was just so hysterical, so good, so good. Yes,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having this. This was great. I definitely miss doing comedy as much as I hate like doing it in bed rest form, lying down with like cushions stacked on me so I can get a good angle. But y'all are lovely and y'all were so funny. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You're so
Thank you.
And thank you to your audience.
Thank you to our audience. Thank you so much. Donate. Oh, I swear to Jesus, if you don't donate, I'll be so angry. And that's our show. Be safe. Be kind, you guys. These are really strange times. Take care of yourselves. Much love.
Bye.